Hey guys, what is going on? Carter here. Got another video for you. This one is on the Cold Steel Ultimate Hunter. This is kind of the standout 2015 Cold Steel knife for me. Really excited to get it in my collection. Kind of funny it's taken me this long. I'll talk about that more in a minute, but it comes from the brain of Andrew Demko, and in my mind, is probably the best representation of his work in the Cold Steel lineup thus far. It really screams Cold Steel, and I absolutely love this knife. I've been carrying it for the last few days, and I think it'll be my new recommended Cold Steel knife, and possibly my #1 recommended knife for just average people that come to me and say, hey, what's a good knife for me to get? It's not going to break the bank, but has good features. What do you recommend? This may be the knife that I recommend. Used to be I'd break up the category between the Cold Steel Recon series and the Spyderco Paramilitary 2, kind of depending on what they were going for, but this one may actually serve both purposes and may be the single recommendation knife that I give from now on. We'll see how that goes. You may have seen this knife on a little channel here on YouTube. I don't know if he has a lot of subscribers or gets a lot of views. It's called Nuttin' Fancy. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. He does a lot of videos. I think a few people subscribe to him. They gotta be. I mean, he keeps making videos, so somebody's got to watch his stuff. But he did a review on this knife probably 5 months ago. Really hit it out of the park. Kind of nailed everything that I want to talk about. So some of this will be a rehash from that. But I think I also have a little bit of a different perspective on some of this. And I'm also a little bit more custom knife collector oriented than him. So I'm going to have a different view on some of the things that I really like about this knife. So that was a joke, by the way. Obviously, you guys know who Nuttin' Fancy is. I may have played that off a little too straight. But yeah, that was a joke. So first off, let's get some specs out of the way. You probably already know them at this point, but it's a 3.5-inch blade, 8.5 inches overall. Comes in at 4.8 ounces. That is a really good weight. Not too heavy, not too light. Really, really nice for kind of everything. And that's what this knife is good for. It's good for everything. Like I said, I've been carrying this thing around the last few days, and I really, really like it. Has a drop point blade, 3/4 ground. Feels like it's a flat grind. If not, it's a very, very, very shallow hollow grind, but I think it's a flat ground blade. This one is satin. In fact, I think satin is the only finish this comes in. Very nice thickness behind the edge. Not too thick, not too thin. It cuts very well, but it's also going to be really, really strong. It's going to take a lot of use. It's going to take a lot of abuse, especially with that CTS XHP steel that Cold Steel has been using on their upper tier knives this year. You can see how thick that stock is. This is the regular thickness for medium and large folders from Cold Steel, but for some reason it seems so much thicker on this knife. You can see the tip right there. I mean, this thing is just bonkers in terms of its design, its blade shape, its versatility, its usage, all those things. And from an aesthetic point, I love how it has the alternating patterns on the grinds. You can see the flats up at the top here have a horizontal pattern to the grind. And then, of course, you got the vertical grinds right there on the main bevel. Looks really, really nice. Dual thumb studs, per usual. Triad lock, of course. Rock solid, like always. The big standout feature on this knife, for me, is these beautiful scales. G10, contoured, and heavily sandblasted. And if you know Andrew Demko, you know he likes sandblasted contour scales. In fact, I had an order in with him a while back, and I asked him what his preferred configuration would be for the knife I had on order, and he said this exact configuration. Contoured, heavily sandblasted G10 scales. You can see how it has kind of a wood grain pattern to it. And then the texture, which you can't really see, is just great. It has a really nice grippy texture without being annoying. Really, really nice. You can see the ramp right here for the thumb studs. Lets you open this thing up so easily. Left hand, right hand, both sides are the same. You can flip this thumb stud around if you want the longer side on the left side if you're a lefty. Comes with the second clip you can put on this side like usual. Really, really nice stuff. And something about the way this opens, it's got the perfect amount of tension on it, and then that click. I love that click, really, really nice. Ergonomics on this are perfect. Feels like a dream in the hand, it really does. Your finger goes into that ramp, you have really good purchase. The jimping is nice. It's functional. It's not overly aggressive. It's not going to tear up your thumb, but it's also not useless. You can see, just like I mentioned before, Andrew Demko's hand in this. He loves that really thick and wide cutouts for the jimping. You see that on his customs. You can see it on here. He has heavily influenced this knife. Everything from the blade shape to the handle shape really screams Andrew Demko. Another thing that I liked, kind of a little touch, is how it has this inset area on the bottom here. I don't think it really serves any sort of function or purpose, but it's just a nice touch. It just adds a little bit of class to the knife, makes it seem like it's a little bit higher of a level of a knife than it is. And granted, it is in the $100 price range, and I think its value is much higher than that. With the materials you're getting, the handle, the design, the versatility, everything, I would expect to pay more than what they're asking for this knife. It really is kind of a knock it out of the park kind of knife for cold steel. I definitely recommend checking this out. If you're thinking about getting a cold steel knife, I would start with this one. If you're wanting to check them out, if you're saying, hey, I see they've made some changes this year, they've kind of upped their game, maybe I'll give them a chance, I would go with this one. I think you would be blown away by it. I think you would love how light it is, how easy it is to use, everything, the versatility, the materials. I mean, it really, really does an excellent job representing cold steel and kind of hopefully where they're going in the future. So that's it, guys. Give me a like, give me a comment, give me a subscribe. Let me know what you think about this knife, my channel, your day, whatever. Put it in a comment down below. I'll talk to you guys next time. I'm out of here.